Hi, my name's Steve, and I'm Conservative Jim. We're here today to speak with our fellow right-wing males about something very important. We really, as a community, need to stop, or at least heavily scale back, all this hate we've been giving to LGBTQ people right now. Now, hear us out. The thing is, we are actually going against our own ideals with this one, and we need to just let it go. I know. Look, in this video, we're going to explain why we should just let the pinko commies win this one. So if you're not feeling super into being open-minded on this issue, it's probably best to stop watching now. On the other hand, if you're willing to hear us out, these are 5 reasons why right-wing, white Republican conservative types should support rights for LGBTQ people. Reason number 1. Freedom. The American government thinks it can do whatever it wants even though this is a free country. Restrictions on things such as buying guns, mask mandates, and even drinking and driving laws all take away the very freedoms which are the cornerstone of America. People tell me that being gay, queer, transgendered, or any of them other letters is not a choice. But even if it was a choice, this here's a free country. What 2 or any number of consenting adults do in the privacy of their own bedroom is their business. And what somebody does with their own body is their own business too. Ain't no government can tell me what I do with what's mine. Yeah, my body, my choice. Oh, no, we can't say that, Steve. Oh, okay, sorry. Telling someone they can't be gay, queer, or trans is trying to deny someone else their freedom. And that goes against the core values of this country. It's very un-American, if you ask me. People don't ask me, but if they did, I'd say that's very un-American. If being, funny were a choice, it will be someone's personal freedom, and freedom-loving Americans need to respect that. It actually kind of feels a lot like many of the things we believe, though, go against this fundamental... One issue at a time, Steve. One issue at a time. Reason number 2. Back the blue. I bet some of you have looked at the rise of drag shows going on around the world and thought to yourself, well, dagnabbit, if they are grooming these kids, I'm gonna... Yeah, these transgenders are grooming kids with their drag shows. Well, actually, Steve, drag queens and people who perform at drag shows aren't necessarily transgender. Well, the transgendered people, like that RuPaul. RuPaul is not transgender. Hi, I'm liberal-minded ancillary character Professor Sandals. I'd just like to point out that conservatives simply cannot wrap their heads around the idea that drag queens aren't transgendered. They just can't do it. But the drag queens, they're transgendered. See what I mean? For whatever reason, I find that very funny. Crimes against children is a serious issue, but let me ask you a serious question. Do you back the blue? Hell yeah, I back the blue! Absolutely not, no. Do you trust that the police are out there working to prevent our society from crumbling? You're goddamn right I do! No, not even close, no. Well, if you back the blue, then you need to support the police when they say that crimes against children are not happening at those events. I promise you, your local police department is far more worried about what you will do at these events than what happens inside. Again, if you back the blue, yeehaw, back the blue! If you truly back the blue, You will support the police when they say drag queens aren't harming children. You're still allowed to find it gross or weird or whatever, but there are no crimes happening. You might not like it, but you need to respect the freedoms of the people involved.
Reason number 3. Some of us are LGBTQ too.
You know how we've been hating on the gays for a really long time now? I sure do, Steve. And you also know how every Thursday down at the bathhouse, you'll run into right-wing politicians, conservative media personalities, and the like? I absolutely do, Steve. I absolutely do. We've seen each other there countless times. Well, the same goes for them other letters in that there acronym. Our own sacred, beautiful population of white people will have just as many trans and dingies and others as any other group of people. And that just gets messy. It leads to a lot of secrets and scandals when people feel they can't admit who they really are. Not to mention how devastating it is for families. Sounds like yet another reason for us white, American, cisgendered, mostly heterosexual males to leave this issue alone.
Reason number 4. It's perfectly natural.
The reason many of us right-wing nutjobs hate on trans folk is because we feel it's unnatural. Well, it turns out we were as wrong as socialism on this one, I'm afraid. You know, we might not have a good grasp on what socialism actually is. Transdingering is a natural phenomenon found in the animal kingdom. In fact, did you know that chimpanzees have a higher rate of transdingings than humans? I didn't. Please tell me more. Transdinging is more common in chimpanzees than in humans. Transgender chimpanzees display behaviors and characteristics different than from the sex there that they were assigned at birth. They often use a different sex's lavatory, that's fancy British speak for bathroom, play with different toys, or female chimpanzees will show male-like aggression. So you're telling me that there aren't just 2 genders in the animal kingdom? There aren't 2 genders anywhere, not even in Ron DeSantis' bathroom. There's never been just 2 genders. Well, I'll be. And it looks like I'm reading here that 12% of all furries identify as transgendered as well. That must be one of the biggest rates of transendingy in the animal kingdom. Well, yeah, sure, Jim, but I think furries are just humans wearing costumes. What? Over 1% of all births have some degree of intersex stuff going on, which can include being born with both sets of genitalia. Hey, that sounds really fun. Well, sure, it would be fun, except this whole there's only 2 genders bullshit our peeps peddle makes life really difficult for these people. So they should be having double the genital fun, but people like us are ruining it? You got that right. We've been oppressing these people for a very long time, and it's just been recently that people are trying to help these communities feel more included in society. But what about my monthly trips to Bangkok to revel in Thailand ladyboy culture? Kathuis in Thailand have been a thing going on all the way back to the 14th century. It's just more proof that there's never been only 2 genders. Did you know if you put someone on trial for being transendingy, which I have just recently learned would be a bad thing, but if you put them on trial, there would be enough physical evidence to convict them? Really? Brain scans of transendingy people show that their brain activity matches the gender they identify with rather than the one they were assigned at birth. Wow, so there is actually physical proof that someone is transgender. Yeah, so there's been like all kinds of science stuff done on this. I was reading lots of sciences about it. Also, I'm not sure what a climate is, but ours is totally fucked. So can those brain scans reveal other stuff as well? Like what? Like Would the Republican Party ever be able to scan my brain to find out about how I'm kind of into... Well, none of that has anything to do with gender, Jim, so I wouldn't worry none about it. Oh, good. That brings us to the number one reason why it's important for right-wing super white Republicans like us to support LGBTQ rights. To own the libs! We all know that owning the libs is the best thing a person can do. Well, knocking off our hate for LGBTQ people will do exactly that. Our hate for LGBTQ people stops a lot of people from supporting right-wing parties. If we cut it out, we absolutely would do better in elections. Is that true? Honestly, it's one of the biggest selling points of being against us. It's easy to fun and hate on people for a while, but then you find out your cousin with the PlayStation 5 likes dudes, and it shifts your perspective. And that's when people like AOC start to appear in your Reddit feed. It's pretty much all over at that point. But what about protecting women's sports, bathrooms, and other logistical items about making society more inclusive? We need to just leave this to the people who actually know what they are talking about. You mean it's not for us? You know what is for us, Steve? Money. Actual right-wing politics are all about money. We want low taxes, less regulation, less government, and more money. That's what right-wing politics are. The stuff we say and do about LGBTQ people and abortions and other crap is just so we can convince Christians to vote for us and donate money to us. Oh. So basically, politicians who claim to support what you want are actually just purposely getting us so angry about stuff that we shell out money to them, their party, and vote for them on election day. They are exploiting us for money and power, and somehow it's the one conspiracy theory people like us don't seem to be looking at. So what now? Now we have some comments from deathmatch wrestling legend Nick Gage.
It's the man, the king, the god of this shit, Nick fucking Gage. And I'm making this video because it's Pride Month. So happy Pride Month. And shout out to all my trans people. Because trans people are human beings. So if you want to fuck with anybody that's trans, you're fucking with me. And if you fuck with me, you know what happens to you. And you already know what it is. It's MDK all fucking day. Happy Pride Month. I salute everybody.